Plans, parties, and presents. These days always seem to blur together, don't they? But what is Christmas and Advent season really all about? Well, for you, the multi-passionate woman who's seeking purpose, Advent is an invitation to take a sacred pause, to refocus on God, on you, and on your people. Welcome to the 9th annual Wholehearted Advent podcast series, sharing wisdom and transformation for the moments that matter most. So I'm giving an extra introduction for this special re-release because this is a conversation I had with the amazing Christa Hardin that we originally recorded for her podcast, Enneagram and Marriage, and just her community. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. So this episode, well, it's pure Enneagram 7 joy. We both dive into our favorite Christmas movies, Elf and While You Were Sleeping. We talk about the movie characters through the lens of the Enneagram, and we reflect on how the stories hold both joy and grief during the holiday. It's very reflective of what we're experiencing real time. So it's a little bit of a different conversation in the way that Christa is actually more interviewing me and leading the conversation. But if you are looking for a feel-good, soul-nourishing episode that's also just downright fun, well, you're going to love this. So I hope you continue to listen to this fun Enneagram Insight Christmas movie style conversation.
So thank you for joining us. I don't know if you're shopping, if you're wrapping presents, if you're just like, you know what, I'm a Christmas in the July kind of a person and I'm listening in a different time. We just want to say, hey, and we are going to have so much fun today with you talking about both Elf. Yes, we're going to argue for Elf being a rom-com, a little bit at least. And then also While You Were Sleeping. Oh my gosh, Sandra Bullock, Bill Pullman, such a classic. My teen girls love the movie. Amy has seen it more times than I was aware of her seeing it. I was so glad we decided on adding that movie in too, because I think you guys are going to have so much fun with us talking about both of these movies. And not only that, but pulling out some fun purposes for us as viewers during the season too, so we can learn and grow along with these fun characters. So buckle up and get ready for a fun ride. But before you do that, make sure you grab whatever goodies you need. Check out that Starbucks line, see how long it is, or go grab your popcorn, or go on your walk if you're like, you know what, already had all the sweets, need to go have my walk right now. We are here for it all with you, as always. And if you just need more support in your relationship, don't forget all of our 12 days of deals going on at enneagramandmarriage.com. Make sure you're on our email list. And then I'm also going to be sharing this in the episode, but absolutely make sure you're on Amy's list too. I'm putting it in the show notes because she has got such a joyful spirit. And I just wouldn't want you to miss out on this during the dark part of the year and actually any time of year. Amy is what I love about sevens, and that is the ability for sevens to refresh us, and how much I appreciate that. Being a seven who would love other sevens to refresh me is unparalleled. So both Amy and I did have to hold back our joy a little bit here to connect, but I hope you feel it. I hope you feel it ever so much, and I hope you have a great holiday. Let's chat with Amy. Amy, thank you so much for joining us for this special E&M episode today.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here, Christa. Always a treat to chat with you. And then especially an episode that involves Christmas, movies, and romance. Come on.
Oh my gosh. And how fun that we love 2 of the same Christmas movies. And I'm sure our audience does too. Can you tell everybody what those 2 are?
Yes. Elf and While You Were Sleeping, which... Can I just go on the record and say, I imagine I've watched While You Were Sleeping at least 100 times, maybe 200 times, and that is not a 7 exaggeration.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. That one was on my mind. And when you said it, I was like, wow, because it's not brand new, but it's coming back. Everyone loves it.
Well, right. I think we're around the same age. So it came out when we were young teenagers, just early preteens. And I remember watching it in the theater. We had some friends, the family, that were like, oh my goodness, you guys have to go see this. And it just landed at a stage of life, probably, and became a family tradition where we would watch it. And it was just one of those, for me, a good movie that I could turn on if I wasn't sleeping well,
Oh,
ironically, to the
I know.
title, or if I just needed some noise in the background while you were sleeping was my go-to for many years.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. And I bet just with some of the characters, I'm going to get to dig in a little deeper on why you find such comfort with these
Mm-hmm.
characters. And then we'll talk about Elf too. But actually, since you got us started on this wonderful movie, for those listening, you guys probably know that this is a Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman movie. And I don't know if we want to spoil it for them. Should we spoil it?
Oh, yeah, let's spoil it.
Because people know what this is. Like, if you haven't seen it, like, please go see it. It's so good.
It's
Um,
perfect. Yeah.
yes, but I really wanted to just say, like, what do you think this that you love about this trope? Does it seem like you love those friends to love, like enemies to lovers trope, or do you like the surprise endings? Is there anything about that that you love?
Yeah, I think I did like the surprise ending. That's a good question. I don't think I've thought about that in that way. What was it about that drew me? I am really drawn to story. And Krista, you know this, where I'm sort of a secret closet fiction writer, if you will. I love
Love that about
just
you.
fun story. And the genre that I'm drawn to is this family, conversational, real life depiction, but in a humorous way, right? A little bit exaggerated about how life is, whether it's the family conversation at the table or the dilemmas we face. I just think it's fun to paint those in exaggerated form, very conversational, highlighting the oddities about life and the nuances and relationships. That is just fun for me. And I think that genre that is captured in While You Were Sleeping is it plays to the real life, and there's so much humor sprinkled in. I cannot tell you how many one-liners my family has quoted. And not
Wow.
only my family of origin, because this movie is what, 30 years old, which is embarrassing. I can't believe it's we're
Thank
talking
you.
about a movie we watched when we were teens,
Mhm.
but it's been around for a long time. So my family of origin and then my girls. But anyway, there's just so many great quotes from it. And I think when I was young, watching it for the first time, the fun twist and the depiction of real life that it offered in a way that was just feel good. And also, there was a couple of fun life lessons sprinkled in too.
Mm, wow, that's a really good point about how, if you guys remember the movie, there, Sandra Bullock's character, Lucy, ends up befriending a family and they're not perfect. And I was
Mhm.
noticing that when I was watching it yesterday, that this family has issues and
Yeah.
some of them are unspoken. This is a low context family that doesn't always say what they want. And I think that sometimes there's a truth teller. The elderly woman in the story is a truth teller and she's
Yes, she
hilarious,
is.
the
So
grandma.
funny.
And so I think that yeah, I can't wait to Enneagram this with you, but I just want to add to that that I appreciated that too, because it made me look at my own family and say, okay, we're more normal than I realized first. And then
Yes.
secondly, I really related to Lucy's character because she had lost both of her parents. And
Yeah.
so I was just talking to my girls about it. Like, I can't imagine losing both of my parents and not having a spouse or children. So it just made me want to, like,
Mm.
honestly love on people more who don't have somebody. And it made me, instead of looking at my own list, and obviously I'm not going to go this serious about Elf probably, but it made me like look around at other people in my community. Does that make sense?
100%. And Krista, I know we were just chatting a little bit before, just this tension we feel around this time of year that we get the opportunity and we also have the challenge of holding both grief and gratitude. It's loss and celebration. It's sorrow and happiness. It's tradition and bittersweetness, right? There's all of these things that sometimes feel juxtaposed or a dichotomy that we're living within. And as a seven, sometimes that is exceptionally challenging. But the even just as you say here, the invitation to take a movie and be able to relate her loss and grief, and yet also a depiction of a joyous time where some of her
Mhm.
dreams are realized. And to your point, I've thought about that too. I'm like, oh, I can't imagine how hard it would be to engage that part of your story of falling in love and not have the parent to share, at least one parent to share with. So I know both of us feel that loss with in regards to you, both of your parents, with me, one of my parents, just in this time of year. And it's hard when you don't have that. We were created to have that nurturing, that parenting, like until the end of time, right? We will always, no matter when we lose our parent and no matter how we lost our parent, it's tough because we were created to have that relationship. And there's, such a gift in that, and difficult when we're faced these times of year without them.
It's true. And I just want to really reach out with the hug to the listeners out there who may be feeling a spirit of loneliness. Know that we are thinking of you and hoping that you, like Lucy and like we're doing, are working on that. Like that very, like we said, it's this joyous 7 sort of season, but also just being able to go to that 4 space and say like, all right, I'm going to need a few extra minutes to collect myself, to pray, to grieve, but then getting up and washing your face and saying like, what are the gratitudes in my life? And I loved how Lucy, her personality type, was able to do that so beautifully, that she was able to hold both that tension of loss as well as really honoring and helping and caring for others. So what type of personality did you think she had Enneagram type wise?
It's funny because a lot of times I go into new movies thinking about their Enneagram types, but I haven't always done it as much with movies that have just been part of my history, especially a 30-year history. So I did watch it with fresh eyes again just yesterday because I had this just amazing little spot of time to have that in the background and wrap some gifts for some parties coming up and things like that. And I was like, this is so fun because suddenly I had an idea going into it. And I really was vacillating between the 9 and the 2 when I first went into watching it. And I mean, probably within goodness, maybe 10 minutes, I very solidly landed. So I'm excited to hear what you think. But I'm like, Lucy's got to be a 9. It just seemed to scream at just like so many different ways.
Oh my gosh, I love it that you came to that because the girls and I did too. And
Yay.
we also read on a poll that somebody else had put her in as a 2. And we were like, nope, we didn't land there because we felt that she was all 3 withdrawing types. Actually, we felt that she was probably a 9, 4, 5 because she was in those depths like a 4 and sharing her pain and story with anyone who would listen. But yet we were just amazed by how she could care so much like a 9 and yet pull back so much like a 5 and live her life with enough peace. And the one thing that made me feel she couldn't be a 2, and maybe some introverted 2s might beg to differ, but I didn't sense the sociability of, I said it to myself, if she was a 2, she might have a roommate here. Did you get any of that?
Totally. And in fact, there were definitely a character or 2 who stood out to me as a type 2 that I feel like showed up with a great contrast where I even saw that theme of needing to know her presence mattered. Her sitting by the bedside of her crush, if you will, now her fake fiance in the middle of the night, because I felt like it spoke to her needing to know her presence mattered and her offering her presence because she was so lonely, and that would feed a need and a desire that she had as a 9 in particular, ways that she discounted her opinion over the years, or even what she desired for the greater good. Now, that can be seen a little bit as a 2, but I saw it more as not a desire to help in a way that a 2 does to get the accolade and to get the love in return, but just because it was like a thing she knew she was supposed to do and showing up. And at the same time, really lost herself in the process, lost some of what she desired, what she wanted, what she ultimately, these goals and dreams, I saw her it's like it sapped all the inertia and the momentum from her life, the grief, the sacrificing of herself with taking care of her dad, where she just like everything then went on hold. And part of this, what the beauty of the story is her waking up to those things and that momentum coming back into her life.
Ooh, you brought up so many beautiful points. And I'm just going to throw into you guys, Amy's an amazing coach. So listen how she went right past behaviors and went to the depths in the core issues. And I also think you're really probably adept at picking up 9 stuff because you're married to a 9 also. Is that right?
I am. Which goes to show maybe why I was so drawn to that movie and that just like calming, peaceful element.
Yes, the foreshadow just came full circle with the arc. Amy's in love. No, I'm just joking. Well, yes, she is.
Love it.
But this movie is great. And I think that there's some other personalities. You mentioned a 2-ish character. Was that the mom that you noticed as a 2?
Yes,
oh
I did. Yes. The other person that I wondered as well that gets maybe not as much recognition, but I think plays such a fun role is Jerry, her boss at work. He is also, you know how typically rom-coms have like the supportive girlfriend?
Yes.
Well, she has Celeste, but really Jerry plays a bigger role in that, which I think is a fun way to make that supporting character, if you will. And Jerry is a listener. I mean, there could be some other types to that, but just kind of that supportive role that he plays. But definitely I was thinking both Peter and Jack's mom, and I wrote down her name. It's Midge. I don't think I had paid attention before, but it's Midge, and I'm pretty sure she's a 2.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love her. And I'm so glad that you're also expanding this because you're right. This is, there's more than 1, 2 moment or persona here. And I think it's a little gentler if you're listening and your type tends to be the one, like when we talk about 3, for instance, like people are like, they were in an unhealthy 3 space versus like, you're a bad 3 or you're a good 2 or you're a bad 2. Like any of us can go to any of these spaces in health or unhealth. But I think that the 2s in this movie were very healthy. And I really liked that mom. I do know that she put some of her wish fulfillment on, but, she wanted this to be a marriage. She wanted to have something to deflect the fact that her son was in a coma. But I also think she was just fun and loving. And I felt that gratefulness for the main character. Did you feel that? How happy she was to have somebody like her loving her?
Yes. And the quick invitation to kind of enfold and encompass Lucy into the family tradition, inviting her over for Christmas. I mean, it was so immediate, that hospital scene. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh my gosh, Midge is totally an Enneagram 2 and just jumping right in with kind of and again, like you said, maybe an introverted 2 would have a different feel, but I saw even that kind of back and forth, that 8-ness, a little bit more forceful, bossy, directing everything, but also the inviting and really quick to open up arms to welcome someone else to the family or the family traditions.
Oh, yes, that makes so much sense. And you might know this because you've watched it more times than me, but there's a fun line in there, like, these mashed potatoes are so creamy. You're
so creamy. Mary mashed them. Yeah.
I love that part. So like listeners, like have fun with that little scene and your own favorite quibs and tell us what your favorite lines are. Now, there's a couple of other characters we might have time to discuss briefly before we move on to Elf. But do you want to talk about Peter or Jack next?
Oh, let's talk about Peter.
Let's talk about Peter. What type did you think he is?
Okay, Peter's the one in the coma, just for the record. He's the tall, dark, handsome, classic. As you watch the movie, you go, oh, he's the love interest for sure. Mm-hmm. But, and again, I kind of, to your point, he's not a bad character. Like, he's not the enemy or the arch nemesis or anything like that. But you see kind of unhealthy character traits in this guy at the end of the day. And I see him show up as a 3, where he's very focused on career and advancement, achievement. He's got a story from his childhood that goes, oh, he was looking for significance and glory and
Oh,
credit.
yes.
So kind of all of these things that play into, I think he really has a desire for significance and success in a way that a three, especially an unaligned three, might uh, really live out in their life.
Yes. And I like how you noticed he really had a desire for love and he really
Yeah.
did want a fresh start. And he's like, hey, I've been living a not very good or not very aligned life. Like I am awake. And we know that's all of our Enneagram journeys, whatever negative space we're in. So that was beautiful to see him want an awakening. But of course, realistically, it wasn't very likely to happen in one day, even with a bit of possible amnesia. So I like where the story lands, but I hear you that that's definitely who we think the love interest is. He's the classic good looking guy. And it was really set up beautifully. And I also saw that he did give up his seat on the train and there was a good heart, which we see with our threes. So
Yes.
yes. Okay. What about Jack? What did you think he was in terms of type?
Yeah, I wasn't sure at first either. And then to me, it was so clear. I was like, why did I even ponder this for a second?
Yes, I'm still
But
debating between two, so I can't wait to
oh,
hear. I think you're going to
yeah.
settle it for me.
Yeah, so I landed as a type six, that Jack is the loyalist. He's the steady, faithful friend immediately. So this is what was the moment where I'm like, okay, he's a six, because
Mhm.
when he first comes onto the scene, he immediately questions the validity of Peter's girlfriend being there sleeping on the couch, and her
Mhm.
back is turned to him. And immediately he's asking his little sister, wait a minute, that's Lucy, or that's the girlfriend, that's Peter's girlfriend. And
Yeah.
he has questions and he's investigating from a doubtful place more than an open, accepting, inviting in. He just doesn't seem to be able to trust this or reconcile it. He's got a lot of doubts and he is going to find the answer.
My goodness, you are on point. And I love it that you got that. This is a 9-6 romance. One more reason why it's a peaceful story, because that is a peaceful pair. I know we've had Expedition Marriage on with that type. In fact, they just shared about their comfy couch they just bought on Instagram. It's like that is such a peaceful pairing. Jack is a furniture creator and salesman in
Yes.
this story. And I love that you came to 6 because I started with 6 and then my girls were like, he's a classic 5. But then I was
Okay.
arguing for 6 and we both kind of said 6 wing 5, 5 wing 6. We just didn't know that space because we saw the investigating, but you're absolutely right. The questions started first and were
Mhm.
incessant. And that's how
Yes.
my son is when he's in his 6. And I'm going to say in his 6 because we don't know if he's a 6 or a 7, but it's just constant contradicting and checking and he really, gosh, he didn't know himself fully either. You know, he wasn't, she's
No.
like, is there any reason why I shouldn't marry your brother? And he wasn't able to say because he
Yeah.
didn't know for sure. She had to come up with that. So brilliant, Amy.
And I do love that, Nod. You mentioned it, that he was a furniture maker. And there's something so beautiful in that too, of where a six, there's like an inviting essence of the six that envelop, and just that nod to being a furniture maker, a rocking chair in particular. I don't know. To me, it was like, what a beautiful depiction of a six, of creating a space that would be safe and comfortable, comforting, maybe, and like a constant loyal, right? Like rocking chair itself is indicative of tradition and a
Mm.
space where you go and find home. I don't know. There was just many elements of that where I think even the attraction, just kind of that where Lucy was looking for a home and a place of belonging and that her presence matters. And Jack offers that in that way. Well, Peter might lend itself to exciting ambition and the high side for a 9, or to go to that high side of the 3. But at the end, the beauty of just the belonging and the familiar. There's just so much in that pairing that I thought, oh, what a neat way that I'm sure the storytellers didn't even think about. But as we're looking at it through Enneagram lens, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh my gosh. And that does speak to the fact that they probably didn't even know that, but how well they did not knowing the Enneagram, because she totally comforts him. Like he's a suspicious guy and he's so
Yeah.
loyal and he deserves a break. And we just know that he found the most pure, healthy woman, not unhealthy purity like perfection, but she's truly a good soul. And so you're like,
Yeah.
he's going to find his rest in her and she's going to find the loyalty in him. And yes, he has that 5 kind of welding or furniture depth too, but I really think he's a 6 and I love that movie. Thank you for chatting with me about it because it's amazing. So our listeners need to watch, right?
Oh, 100%. It's got to be on your Christmas list. I don't know about you, Krista, but we make a list every year of the Christmas movies we really want to watch as a family.
Ooh.
And there's a couple in there that just my husband and I watch still. We have teenagers and we still are, kind of monitoring and being selective of what we watch as a whole family. But ultimately, there's a good 20 movies on there. And we have not gotten through them. So here we are a few days before Christmas, and we've got a bunch of birthdays, but it's supposed to be cold and snowy.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, the birthday celebrations are going to be about sitting on the couch together watching some of these Christmas movies.
Yes. Well, we had that with Hurricane birthday. We had her birthdays this year. So happy
Yes,
birthday to
we
you, your
did.
husband, and your daughter this December.
Thank you. Yes, a fun week ahead. And you throw in Jesus's birthday, and we just, one party after another.
Oh my goodness. Well, that is fun. And before we head to Elf, what is something that you guys do when you set up your movie watching? Do you guys have favorite drinks or snacks that you like to indulge in over the holidays?
You're so fun. We're kind of bad about this. Maybe it's because, well, that's not true. Usually Friday night is pizza night, movie night, family night. And so with teenagers, of course, that looks different these days, but we do love having our favorite pizza and it looks different every week because hello, Seven, we got to mix up our pizzas.
Yeah.
I won't give you the full menu, maybe someday, but yeah, but there's kind of a ritual where I have learned now because we have such a hard time agreeing. I'm like, guys, pizza is like 10 minutes away from being done. Choose the movie now. So we're not sitting there arguing about what movie to watch and our pizza's getting cold.
Exactly. And it is
But
a
pizza
fight
and a movie.
sometimes. So you do have to prepare what movie it's going to
Yes.
be. Get it started. And I love how you said have the yummy, delicious food to go with it. Pizza is a staple. I love that you reminded us of that. So get your pizza on if you want an extra good movie watching time, right?
Yes, 100%.
Ah, yay. Okay, well, now we get to jump into Elf because that is literally a classic. And my son
It
and I
is.
watched it this morning and we said it may just be our favorite Christmas movie out there. Now, Seven's like a lot of
So
movies and
fun.
we say
We
a
do.
lot of them are favorites. I saw your beautiful Instagram post and you've got a lot of favorites too.
Yes, I do. Yeah, easily 10, right?
Yes, absolutely. So tell me what you think that our listeners need to know about just the whole trope of Elf and just take a second to think about why do you think people really like Elf?
It's really interesting. It kind of goes to that deeper finding that we found in While You Were Sleeping, where the characters evolve. There is that growth that we see happens, the extreme version of who they are, and they find themselves, they awaken to what it is they really want or what is aligned, what is truly what they value. And so each of the characters go on a journey. Which is not always typical with such a large cast, I would say, because there's multiple characters in their growth journey. It's not just about one. It's just not just about a hero. There's a lot of them finding themselves along the way. So I think that's just fun to watch people see where they start and go, oh, there's hope for all of us. We aren't all stuck in our coping mechanisms, right? Which is what we're preaching all the time.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that. And that's something we can't even capture on this short episode. So make sure you watch these if you just need to see characters who end up deciding to be true to themselves, whatever the cost, knowing that if it's hard, it's going to be hard, but at least they're going to be a people of integrity and people that choose goodness and what is right. Like those, I think you're right, are themes that we see, and they're
Mm.
character driven stories in a way. Yes, the plots are important, but I think you're right. It's about the people. And who are your favorite people on this movie?
Oh, well, I mean, come on, Buddy the elf. He's just so much fun. The
Yes.
innocence, I think that's what I love about it as a seven.
Mhm.
And spoiler alert, I absolutely think Buddy the elf represents a seven.
Yes, I do with you.
The sweetness, the just childlike joy, unabashed joy. And I think us, any sevens are listening or those who love a seven well, can just know that there's an element for some of us where we're holding back.
I
We're
was
holding
just
a
going to say
little
that.
bit of that. Yeah, right. That desire for excitement. I held a virtual Christmas party just this last week for my online community. And I
Mhm.
had this fun little idea. I'm going to use little snippets from the elf in my invitation and in the like, hey, this party's coming out. But as I was taking out these little clips and, making them giffies or gifs or whatever we call them, right? It just was like, that is me. That is what I'm feeling like on the inside when it comes to Christmas, when it comes to celebration, when it comes to connecting with people. And I know that I've believed the message sometimes that I'm too much in that way. So I hold back a little bit. But Buddy the Elf to me represents like just the full on, here I am, full seven, and all the joy involved.
Yes, absolutely. How comforting for anyone who has a seven in their tri type, or like you said, loves a seven, to get to see this is acceptable, and not only acceptable, but very refreshing. Now, some of the
Yeah.
levels he takes it to because of, when we reveal the story arc that he really is from the North Pole, of course it comes off as incredulous, but his joy is downright infectious. And I am
Yeah.
so glad that you're right, that we see that joy has a place. And you read
Mhm.
a beautiful Mary Oliver quote to me earlier today. If you don't mind sharing that, I think this is a perfect spot for it, because you talk
Yes.
about how when we have some joy, let's let it loose sometimes.
Oh, yeah, spot on, Krista. I read it this morning in my devotion, and it's the poet Mary Oliver, and it's from her Don't Hesitate, and it's Swan Poems and Prose Poems. It came out in 2010. So if you want to look for more from her, but this one quote is, if you suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give into it. Don't be afraid of its plenty. Joy is not made to be a crumb.
Mm.
Oh, oh my gosh. It's just, there's so much there.
Oh, that's beautiful. And it's a great reminder to all of us to not be afraid to show it. If we have it, if
Yeah.
we even want to have grief and joy on the same day, like, go ahead and let that joy be shared with others. And of course, there's going to be some who choose not to, and you can't force it upon people, but there's a lot of people that will love to share your joy. And we saw in the movie,
So
some of them
true.
are going to be kids, and some of them are going to be like the Mary Steenburgen mom figure in the story. So we think Buddy is a seven, and we see that wonder and that joy. Maybe some excess with the sugar on the spaghetti, but
Just a little bit.
what about I also saw Leslie from Parks and Rec do that this week, and I was like, oh my gosh, hilarious. So
That's awesome.
what do you think the mom is? Because she's hilarious too, with how she's so nurturing.
She is crazy nurturing. And I kind of came out with a two with a strong one wing, right? A little bit of that pull to be proper and right. There is there was enough demureness, is I think the word that adequately describes where she also has held back, pulled back from herself. But as I say that, I also could say, oh, maybe she's a nine wing one. So I'd be curious to hear what you think. But to me, what came to mind for sure in an immediacy was the two wing one.
I actually love it. And I had thought two-ness, but I did not even go there with the wings. And I really like it because she really had an ethical principle of like working so much full time. I see her house, it's gorgeous. And I have several two wing ones in my life that have very similar busy schedules like that. And yet
Yeah.
they manage to have a schedule that invites in love so much that
Mm.
I was thinking, this is so unrealistic at first. Like the fact that she would invite in with such joy somebody's adult son, but not when you put it in the
100%.
context of two wing one, because they honestly are like, well, let me see. Let's see what this is about. Let me see if we can do anything. I love that.
And even that sense of it was the right thing to do to be so hospitable and accepting. And she clearly, like in theory, she had to have done some reconciling of knowing her husband had some sort of past. Because all of a
Mhm.
sudden, if my husband was like, yeah, so I have a grown son from a previous relationship that I knew nothing about, don't think I would be as warm and accepting.
Right.
But
Right.
she definitely went to that, right away.
Yeah. And that might even be a testament to some of her three wing of just like, hey, you know what? Everyone has some secrets in their past. Like,
Yeah,
I have the openness. And I think ultimately we want to share both wings. So I love that you really shared. Yeah, she leans really hard on that one. But just for all of us to remember her generous example, I think is what speaks to me about her. And then what
100%.
about her husband, Walter, the book publisher? I loved watching his story arc. What did you think about him?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I wrote two numbers here because I wasn't sure. I think I might err more on the side of an eight
Mhm.
because his tendency to plow over people to get things done
Yeah.
and have very little regard for emotion or how other people might feel. He was just going to do what, not just his path to success, but what he had his focus on and what he was going to do. And it just, whoever was going to stand in the way, you better move. Of course, over time, there was an opening to his vulnerability, being honest with himself, no longer engaging in denial about his past, about the possibility of him having a son, him opening his heart to his son, kind of all of those different things. And at the end, he put his family first and he let go of some of those things and engaged with his heart and his emotions with those that needed the priority of that.
Yeah, I think you've got it. And you're right. It's going to be between a couple of types because we don't get to see every layer of his heart. We don't know if he's so concerned about vulnerability only, or is
Yeah.
he so concerned about inadequacy and the five space. But what we see is the eight presentation. And so I like how you remind us of like, yes, there's some right and wrong and justice, like a one. But the truth
Mm-hmm.
is, the eight really shines out with I'm going to give kind of this dictator, like, I know what I'm doing. Here are the plays. I'm following these plays no matter what. Unfortunately, his son Michael thinks it's because he doesn't love them. And I'm like, no, he loves you. He's just trying to work for you all way too hard and way too
Yeah.
much. And he's forgetting the innocence, which is so important for an eight's development. So I think you're right
Mm.
on for his eight story. But did you love seeing his innocence come out over time?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I think
Hmm.
that 8-7 pairing, even how that can be, there can be a little bit of a rub and tension there, but it also
Yeah.
can bring about the best, some balance to the seven enthusiasm. And the seven can offer life and joy and frivolity, the childlikeness to the eight, reclaiming, because the eight really oftentimes that's their story is they need to reclaim some of that feeling of childlike wonder and awe and simplicity and openness that the seven seems to easily just, boo, here we are.
Yeah, like who cares what people think of me? Like this is me. And the
Mm-hmm.
eight needs to borrow that, but you're right. The seven needs to borrow some of that grounding from the eight into reality, into what is, and how
Yeah.
we can relate with respect to others and have healthy boundaries. So I love that. And I love that he shows us the most beautiful example of when eight goes too strong but soft, it just melts an audience's heart, which is why I think it's probably
So
one of the
true.
biggest reasons it's one of the best movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The redemption piece, such a gift.
Yes. And this is an Enneagram and marriage podcast. And we have a marriage also in this movie. So the
Yes.
last character I wanted to discuss was Jovi and
Genevieve.
who you think
Yes.
she's looking like. And tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, well, I had to say she's got to be a four. I saw the withdrawing element for her, and a little bit of that distress. So maybe the five, and I could be way off, but I also just there is and maybe I could be mixing up some of her character with her the actual person is Zoe Deschanel. Is that how you say her last name?
That's hard. I
Um,
don't know.
yeah,
Zoe
yeah.
Deschanel is how I said it, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe. Yes. And she's a singer and, kind of eclectic person. But I feel like that element came through where she's dissatisfied with her job, her life, who she is. She's put off by anyone who is going to give these overly flirtatious vibes, overly enthusiastic vibes. But then she does kind of allow and she's accepting of the oddity that elf really presents, right? I mean, just total oddball, but it almost attracts her at the end of the day going, well, you really are odd. You're not just trying to be, you really are unique and different. And I think there's maybe some of that where that's kind of maybe even what attracted her, not necessarily his energy and enthusiasm, but the uniqueness of who he was and never having encountered someone like him. So those were my initial thoughts. How about you?
I really like that. And at first, I took it as that she was a 9-wing 8 in her 4-wing 5 space. But
Yeah, I could
when
see
you
that.
share that, I'm thinking about one critical difference between 9s and 4s is that 9s often really enjoy the classic, which I guess Christmas is a classic feature in culture, but there is a sense of like, what is everybody doing? And let me do that well. Like if there's a really good brand, I want to know the brand, I want good quality, and I want to be part of that.
Yeah.
I want to wear the colors that are socially acceptable. And I'm not saying you can't have some flair, but you're right in the fact that she was so eager to put on like a whole new persona and become part of this imagination station life does speak very for. And so I like how she's definitely in her 4-wing 5 space. And also some of her is in the 9 space of, I felt like she was like, I do have a voice, but I don't use it for others. So I definitely
100%.
saw the withdrawing type no matter what.
Yeah, I agree. Yes. And Buddy definitely pulled her out of that space and into just the lightheartedness again that he offers.
Yes. And you know what's funny is this is funny. Our glow pairing of 7 and 9, Buddy and her, we call that one Merry and Bright, which is funny that we call that
That's
Christmas,
so fun.
but we call the 4 and 7 the beautiful adventure. So they really did have a beautiful adventure. So I think that's probably a little closer. And did you think that they had any growing together? Did you think their romance had its own story?
Absolutely. And again, that's where I saw that 4 element for her of her like the 4 is not easily going to just like dive into connection and relationship. I feel like there's a little bit where you got to get the trusting there to be so vulnerable as a 4 would love to know that they belong and to know that it's also a safe place to belong to, and also wanting to double check the authenticity of the other person. Like, are you for real? And I kind of felt that questioning in that process with her going, is this guy for real? Or is he just, being a crackpot or whatever? Yeah. I don't even remember what words that she used, but yeah, just the beauty of them, ultimately her trusting, her willing to be herself with him. And then also that leveling and grounding in a way that she brought like the realist nature to the 7, but in a way that wasn't a joy kill or a buzz kill. It was just just this happy level, again, that leveling out of going, hey, you can be unique and crazy, but also this is what works in the real world.
Yeah, you're right. And there wasn't a total merging. It was more of a accepting, like I'm still me and he's still him. And to me, that's the best marriage, because Wes and I have tried to change each other. But what I like better is our glow when we just naturally rub off, because when we try to change each other in marriage and we force it a little bit, it can become just, I've noticed it just unravels later anyway. So I think they have a very healthy story that they're just allowing that to come together as it does. And they care about each other. And I love that you remind us of the ways that she grows him too. So before we end, do you have any favorite scene from Elf that you just want to remind listeners, make sure you watch this one part?
Probably the most infamous or notable is the spaghetti for breakfast scene. My kids have talked about that. And I think there's a YouTuber who did try out the ingredients. And I want to say it's spaghetti noodles and syrup and maybe ice cream toppings. I don't even remember. It's all like, it's so gross. As a mom, I'm gagging and thinking it's terrible. But my kids have said multiple times, I think we should try that. So I still have this idea of maybe one day for breakfast, I just, as a joke, right, an April Fool's or something, fix an Elf breakfast and see if they really do like it and what they think.
Oh my gosh, that is such a fun idea. And then you could have like the real breakfast nearby.
Exactly.
Like, look,
backup
I'm not going to send you off like this, but I had to just get your reactions on video. Like if you had a little video camera, like your phone set up, that would be so cute.
Wouldn't it be funny?
I love that. Well, thank you, Amy, so much for joining me. It was so extra fun on this week when my girls and I were homebound a little bit because we had a cold. So thank you so extra much for this extra special time. And then tell us where our listeners can get in touch with you, because I think they're probably just like me, super impressed with you.
Oh, you're so kind, Christa. Well, I am known as Wholehearted Enneagram on Instagram. And whenever you come over, say, hey, whether it's a recent post, I love to reply back to you, or just send me a direct message and let me know that you got to hear me first on Christa's podcast. And if you follow, I always send a message to welcome you. And I want to learn about your Enneagram type and how you heard about the space. So I'd love to see you there for sure.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I love your one-to-one heart. And also I love your email newsletter. I love your subject lines. They just invite joy into my life. So I want to invite people to check her newsletter out too. Are you on, your website is?
Yes, it's simplywholehearted.com, like my podcast. And funny little note, Christa, you happened to give a quote from while you were sleeping about the mashed potatoes. And I recently did 2 fiction episodes. So I came out of my closet. I shared some of my fiction pieces, if you will. And one of that line about the mashed potatoes are so creamy, it made it into one of those episodes. So they just, for the Christmas season, super fun for the whole family with some Enneagram tidbits in there.
That's awesome. And, we're going to be having you back, as you know, in 2023, where we are going to get to have our listeners maybe even hear a sneak peek of the fiction. So we'll see about that. I can't wait, though.
Yes, same here, Christa. Thank you so much for the gift of being here, getting to talk about some of my favorite movies. You're just a dear friend and you're the real deal. And I so appreciate that about you.
Thank you. You are too. And our friendship is a treasure to me. And I hope our listeners had some joy with us. I know I sure did.
Yay. Same here. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
As you go, friend, may you slow down, savor the moments that matter most, and make space for Christ to meet you right where you are. And if you need a little more support this season, you can download the free Wholehearted Gift Giving Guide or book a clarity call to help you find peace and presence in your own story. Merry Christmas. And remember, your wholehearted story is still being written.